that we collaborate with in some regard. So our reach and our ability to work with companies and then sort of create a bridge to research and science and universities is really substantial. I've been at UpRead this is my 19th year. And having sort of an experience of creating this bridge between what is science and conservation with business decision making with such a important and enormous industry that's creating something that we all need as people and is fundamental to our modern daily life, which is electricity. So it's a very interesting sort of nexus and place to work. And you guys might be sort of wondering, what is this deal with electric power companies and pollinators? And I'll get to that in just a moment. I wanted to just take a moment to recognize our kind of current events that are happening and share a statement that we share at UpRi. A key foundation of UpRi's social obligation is to stand together against discrimination, bigotry, and intolerance, and to treat everybody with respect and dignity. The recent tragedies spark calls for change from Minneapolis to Atlanta, and we remain opposed as an organization to racism of any kind. And in these challenging times and always, we want to bridge the divide between global collaboration, bringing people and perspectives together that enable all of us together to have a successful future. And Matt, if you could go back just one slide for a moment, please. And this kind of points to not only at a project level, this concept that we really need to work together, right? For our own health, our connections to each other as humans is fundamental to our health and well-being, as well as connections to the ecosystem and the environment around us. Whether we like it or not, we are intrinsically connected to the health of our ecosystems and our environments. We can work together to be looking at these challenges that are in front of us on a regular basis. The area that I focus on is being a conservation biologist is ecosystems and ecology and gene flow and that sort of thing. So that's kind of what we're going to get into a little bit more today. Okay, let's go ahead. Next slide, Matt. Okay, we'll do the next slide, please. Okay, so let's talk about pollinators. One of the initiatives that we have at the Electric Power Research Institute is this Power and Pollinators initiative. We launched way back in, well, not so far back, but back in September of 2017. And it's already the largest collaboration in North America for power companies to come together, pool resources, and execute a whole host of projects. Some of them are pretty deep technical projects, GIS work, genetic mapping, metapopulations. And then some of our projects are much more publicly accessible on education, talking to students in school districts, teaching elementary school classes. A lot of our companies volunteer to do outreach to school districts and so forth. And so this Power and Pollinators initiative now is really this robust collaboration where these companies pool resources to talk about and brainstorm what can we do as a set of organizations to think about protecting pollinators and what is our responsibility around pollinators. Among the other things that we work on at UpRi, including water and biodiversity and climate, and a whole host of other things, pollinators is one of those topics that it just resonates with folks. Everybody knows bees. Everybody can touch a bee. They can see monarch butterflies. They can get out there any day of any week. This is a topic that anybody can get their hands around. So we're really excited to and honored, frankly, that these companies have engaged with us to Think about what they can be doing. And so this whole kind of week that we have ahead of us that we're doing the pre-party for today is to celebrate pollinators. Next slide, please. So why are we doing this now? So National Pollinator Week is next week, is June 22nd through 28th. It is a week that was initiated by Pollinator Partnership, who we have collaborations with, and we're very grateful for those collaborations. And they host this event. It's about a decade old. You have senators and congressmen that support this at the state level, and from the White House, the Smithsonian Institute. There's a whole host of organizations that support and make sure that this week is successful. And we're one of them. We're one of the collaborative groups that kind of leans in and takes a week to celebrate the importance of pollinators and think about what can we do to even understand why are they important. Why do we care about bees, right? They just run around and bug us and sting us and try to get on my hamburger at my picnic, right? So what's the story? Like, why are we going to take time here to think about this? We all love butterflies, right? They float around, they're real pretty. Everybody loves a beautiful butterfly. In fact, there's about 20,000 other species of pollinators that we need to think about. It's not just the pretty butterfly. It could be a really ugly bee that we need to protect that's important for our own health and well-being. So these are some of the things that we're going to share. Next slide, please. Okay, so we have Pollinator Week, right? And we sat back and we said, gosh, you know, what are we going to do this year? Because we're all locked in. We've got stay-at-home orders, social distancing. A lot of times for Pollinator Week, we'll say, go host a gardening party, get out and do a pollinator mixer or something like that. This year, we're all stuck at home. And so we kind of flipped that possible impediment to a whole nother level of opportunity. And we are launching now for the first year this Pollinator Power Party. If it's successful this year, I think we'll probably do it again. But this is our first year to kind of see how we roll. The goal is to reach 1 million people in 1 week. That's a gosh darn big goal, right? That's a big goal. 1 million people in 1 week to just educate about pollinators, everything from what is a pollinator? Maybe you don't know what a pollinator is. That is okay. That is why we are here, is to talk about that, all the way to potentially some very technical conversations around what seed mix should you plant? What is the germination capacity of different seeds? What are their floristic qualities? What's the concentration of sugar and nectar, right? So we could go the whole gamut. Everybody is invited to this party. Everybody. It's family friendly, kids, grandmas, neighbors. So if you're on this webcast, we are the core group. You guys got on this thing. You're at the pre-party. Help make this thing big. Okay, that's kind of what the call out is. We got to work as a team. I don't know 1 million people. You don't, maybe you know 1 million people, I don't know. But you know 10 people, you know 20 people. So every one of us, we can reach people, right? All right. So that's kind of our goal here for the week. I would say that we're pretty excited about this. We've been working on this for a while. We got a whole host of some of it sort of crazy activities. My communication manager has to keep me contained, I'll tell you that. So let's see how we roll here. So Matt, let's go to the event site and now talk through what we're going to do. Is we're going to take a little time to talk you through the week. Okay, what are the events? How do you engage? What is this shindig about? And then at the end of this webcast, you should have a lot more information about what's coming up next week and have sort of what you need to prepare for a really awesome party week.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks, Jessica. So we've got a really cool site here that I just pulled up, and this is the homepage of the Pollinator Power Party landing page, right?
Correct.
So
yeah.
One of the things that I see as part of the landing page is this YouTube streaming video link. I'm not going to click on it because I don't want to disrupt our meeting, obviously, but Tell me a little bit about this. What is this live stream and how will people use this?
Yeah, so we want everybody to have access to this party. There's no fee to participate. Everything's going to get shared and posted for free. And every live event that we have will be shared both via WebEx, like we're doing now. So if you have the WebEx, you can interact with us, and we're going to have a Q&A session just in a few minutes here. So you can ask us questions over WebEx and all of that. If you kind of don't want to do that, then, or we max out our WebEx, we can only accept 1,000 people on each WebEx. So we might max it out, right? You can always watch us live streamed on YouTube. So everybody loves live events. Who knows what could happen, right? So yeah, you never know what's going to happen on a live event. So it's always sort of fun. So we're going to post live stream everything on YouTube. And so you can click there. So that's what that is.
Okay. What else we got down here?
All right. So if you scroll down on the main party page, there's some key things you can look at. There's a party countdown clock, getting things ready, revving up, get some momentum there. There's resources to share. So if you guys are kind of, you're on the WebEx, so now you're part of the core team, right? To get the word out. So there's things to share the invite, to post on Facebook, Twitter, whatever your social media is that you like, or just share the link to the site. There's also a place for you to upload content. So part of the party is that we interact, that you're going to do activities, and then you can share those with us, and we can get those posted up. It could be art. You might be doing art. You could be doing music. Let's say you're going to release a new song. I will kind of put out there one thought, is that if you are an artist or a musician, and it's related to pollinators, this is a pretty awesome way to get your stuff in front of 1 million people, right?
Wow.
So if you just think, right, if you just think about that and you want to release something during our party, that'd be pretty smart, right? So there's ways to share content, and then through the activities, we'll talk about taking selfies and posting those.
Okay.
And right there,
something, Jessica. Will I win a prize?
Yeah, right. That's a good question. So actually, 10 people who are RSVP'd for the party. That's the other benefit of registering versus just sort of watching. If you register, you could win a free copy of this book. It's a best-selling book, Gardening for Butterflies. It will be signed by the author, Scott Black. He's the head of Xerces Society. He's also giving a lecture with us. So 10 people will receive a book that's signed. So that's pretty cool.
Okay. And again, if I do register for the event, will I also be spammed to death by you guys?
Yeah, nobody likes to be spammed. So if you register for the event, we send out, the plan is to send out 1 email a day. So you'll get a couple reminders. You will get links to the live events, which is really useful and valuable. So you can get on with us to the live events. And we'll send an email every day, once a day during the party week, that sort of summarizes, hey, here's what's on deck today. If anybody posts art or original music or original poetry or something like that, we'll make sure that everybody sort of gets a heads up about that. So if you're not registered, you're not going to be getting that email that summarizes the daily activities. And one of them is super cool about the obscure pollinator. You don't want to miss the daily obscure pollinator.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that what the pick your pollen is up here at the top?
Yeah, so the pick your pollen is to pick your daily activities. So let's click on that and see what we got. Okay, so the obscure pollinator, yeah, he's kind of ugly, right? Well, not to me. I think it's really beautiful. But there are some really strange pollinators out there. And there is an expert who's been photographing these guys, who I'm really proud to say he's one of my friends and one of our collaborators. It's Sam Droege at United States Geological Service. And he has a special lab called the Bee Lab. He's been taking photos of these species for a long time. And so daily, we're going to use some of Sam's photography and descriptions around those pollinators. And you will get a photo, you will get their species name, you will get some facts about it. So as you build up over the week, you're going to learn more and more, right? Every day, we're going to push a little bit of science and a little bit of fun your way. So you're going to have a little fun with some cooking and art, but also we're going to sort of sneak in a little bit of science and education in there. So that's something that's going to happen on a daily basis. Yeah.
That
Okay.
sounds really exciting. I'm really excited to hear more about that one. So
Yeah.
maybe a little bit more about the art and music. I know we sort of touched on it a little bit, but you know, you guys take stick figures as art. I mean, that's not all I can draw is a stick figure. So I mean, is that acceptable?
Well, Matt, if that's the best you can do, well, all right, get your kids on board. I bet your kids can do something. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if a stick figure of a bee, maybe it'll become modern art. We'll see. But whatever you got, send it in. It's great to send in whatever you have. And the art could be your original art, of course. That's beautiful. Or if you and photography, that you take pictures of things, that sort of thing. The music too, if you want to scroll back up there for a second, any music, it could be your song if you're a band, or it could be that, hey, here's a song that I heard that has some reference to bees and butterflies and pollinators. It'd be kind of cool to make a list of, all songs that are sort of out there that somehow reference bees and pollinators. So you're welcome to share that with us as well. I am aware, I believe, it's possible that we're going to have a surprise next week. There's a couple bands that have dropped me notes that say they're going to record a new song and release it during our party. They found out about our party and they went into the studio and were inspired, wrote, produced, and trying to finish the recording for some songs. So we might have a surprise announcement next week.
I'm very
Can't guarantee,
excited
but we
about that.
might.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so that's that. The photography, of course, that photo was taken by a farmer that I know, one of my friends. It's a farmer. Really beautiful. It's a carpenter quite beautiful. And then the art on the bottom is just if you scroll down a little more, this is a placeholder art. Please send in your art to us. This is my son. And he's always the guinea pig for all mama's projects at work, right? So he's dying to get something to replace that. So send in some art. Yeah, and so when you send it in, I'll give you instructions and all that on how to share and send in art or songs or whatever. We'll get back to that. We have a special box folder to send in large files.
Yeah, so I clicked on that earlier, and it looks pretty straightforward. I can just drag and drop from my desktop in and click upload, and away it goes.
Oh, got it. That's what that was. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's cool.
Matt, I was pretty sure you're getting distracted here on our live webcast by doing some multitasking, but that is our box.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, that's
Okay. Great.
cool. All right. So let's go to day 3 now, right? So we talked about art. So foodie. I love food, right? So let's talk about this one. I'm all about the food.
We gonna be some wild cooks on Tuesday next week. I tell you what. So the classic sort of statistic is 1 in every 3 bites of food that we eat is dependent on pollinators. So we have posted up there not a full list; it's a partial list of foods that are pollinator dependent, right? And then you can even extrapolate from there into animals that eat food that's pollinator dependent, right? So if cows, let's say cows eat corn, so corn is wind pollinated, right? So your milk, so you can start to extrapolate from there as well. So it's quite an enormous list of foods. So we're going to be some wild cooks. we're going to cook some recipes that rely on pollinator dependent foods. We have a few recipes that are already posted. I'm going to do a little cooking in my kitchen, take a little video and post that. I've got some cool kid friendly stuff. I'm going to corral my kiddos in there and try to get some cooking done. And while I'm doing the cooking, I will describe and sort of narrate a little bit around where the food comes from. Some details about, do you really know, do you know the pollinator that chocolate is dependent on? There's only one. There's one pollinator for cacao, right? So I'll talk about that. There's a whole science of honey. There's a honeybee versus wild bees. We'll talk about that. And so we'll be cooking and we're gonna have fun, but I'm gonna sort of inject a little bit of science in there too, to learn a little bit more about where these food comes from. And squash,
Oh,
that squash bee. Yes.
yeah, yeah.
That's just not just any bee out there. That's the squash bee you got to get. So, and tomatoes, what happens with tomatoes? Is there buzz pollinated, right? Who knows what buzz pollination is? You might not know. So listen to some of that. It's gonna be pretty neat, and we're gonna eat up some yummy stuff.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be doing a live cooking video myself and some other friends. We're going to do a live cooking video that day that we'll stream out to YouTube for the YouTubers and the folks on WebEx. And weather
Awesome.
permitting, I think we're going to try to get some grilling action done and talk a little bit about the local garden I have here at my house. You know, I've personally experienced when things don't go well from pollination, and I'm learning a lot about this from the conversations we've had. So I'm really excited about this one.
Yeah, Matt, you called me and you're like, "What do I do in my squash? Do I need to hand pollinate this stuff with paintbrushes or what's going on? Where's my fruit?"
Yeah,
Right?
where's my stuff, right?
Yeah.
Where's my
Yeah.
veggies?
Well, I tell you what, Matt, when you get out there, that southern barbecue, and I cannot wait to see your live video of that southern pollinator dependent barbecue. It's
Oh
awesome.
yeah, we're real excited about it. So we're hoping the weather will cooperate. All right, so
So
let's talk about day four.
if anybody else wants to do that as well, do a selfie. So when you cook, you use our recipes. So we'll share recipes with you. So when you register for the meeting, you get the recipes. You can also look on the website, make your shopping list, go shopping, collect your things, and then when you're cooking, take some selfies and post those up. What do you think of the recipe? You can even comment. If you want to share a new recipe that you come up with or that you even like that's already published somewhere, do that too. And engage with us. You do not have to be an expert cook to have some fun in the kitchen here. And what a better time, right? While we're all stay-home order, social distancing, to share our selfies and sort of have a meal together virtually.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about having fun with friends and family, and we can do that virtually, right? So we're excited. So butterflies, right? So we got a day dedicated to butterflies.
Yeah, okay. So Wednesday's going to be a live event next week. So we're going to have a guest lecture by Scott Black. I mentioned him. He's the author of the Gardening for Butterflies book, which 10 people will win when they register. He's also the head of Xerces Society. Xerces Society is a phenomenal organization of scientists that focus on invertebrates and pollinators. So we're very excited to have Scott on to share his tips for just down home gardeners. What can I do? That's a fundamental question in this week that we will hit on kind of every day is what can I do for pollinators? Whether you live in the suburbs and maybe have a large garden, or you live in the city in an apartment with just a couple of pots, or maybe you don't have any access to grow anything at all. There is still something you can do related to pollinators, right? Everybody can do something. What if you're a kid? What if you're 5 years old? You have no money, You have no control over your shopping trips. Your parents are kind of out to lunch, right? What do you do about that? We're going to cover that too. I tell you what, my kids feel that way. Their parents are completely out to lunch. They don't know what to do with us. So we'll cover that too. Even kids can do something. Okay.
So there's our social media links, right? That's on each page that I can just click out on Facebook and get to our different areas. So
Yep.
also I noticed this hashtagging, hashtag power and pollinators. Is that what I need to
Yeah.
do when I upload stuff and tag things on Facebook?
Yeah, that's for Twitter. Uh, this is where all the high tech slick folks can jump in there. I need a lot of help with Twitter. If you need help, I get it. You can use Twitter if you like Twitter or Facebook or whatever, or you can just email us. We have an email, pollinators@opry.com. We'll show you the site that has all of those communications listed. But our hashtag is the most fundamental way that we are sharing, right? So if you have Twitter, that is your number one place to go, is that hashtag. And all the power companies and everybody will be using that hashtag during the pollinator party to share what they're doing, right? What is Los Angeles Department of Water and Power doing for pollinators? They're going to do a post. You know, what is Ameren doing? What's American Electric Power doing? They're all going to engage over the social media hashtag. So if you want to see kind of on a broader scale the bigger picture here, loop into there and you'll see you will likely see a lot of posts where these large land managers will describe and explain what they're doing. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. Really, really cool. I love butterflies. There's a really cool butterfly garden there in Raleigh at the Science Museum. Really cool indoor garden. It's really neat. So I'm
Mhm.
excited to learn more about that. And then Thursday, movie premiere. What are we doing with a movie premiere?
All right, this is a big one here on Thursday. So, all week long we're getting you ready, right? You're going to learn how to cook, you're going to listen to some music, you're going to see some art, you're going to sort of be inoculated with pollinator facts and science whether you know it or not. It's going to be sort of, migrating into your head through our communication. So then by the time we get to Thursday, we are releasing, this will be the live premiere of a pollinator documentary that we've been working on for a couple of years, um, where we went out in the field, we shot it's all raw footage. We got the footage ourselves. I'm an executive producer on the film. And it's in collaboration with Tree Media, who's an award-winning film production organization in Los Angeles. And this is going to be the release of the film. It was narrated by Carrie Ann Moss, who is the one of the leads in the Matrix trilogy. She was Trinity in the Matrix, if you've seen it, and she has a whole host of credentials. So she's the narrator of the film. The other executive producer with myself was George DiCaprio, who's Leonardo DiCaprio's dad. So it's quite beautiful, in my opinion. And we have a large number of sponsors for the film. And we hope that you'll join us for the live event. Right after we show the film, it's about 20 minutes. After we show it, I'm going to get on a live feed with the director and producer of it, with Matthew Schmid at Tree Media, and we're going to have a director's perspective session. We're going to just do off the cuff. What was it like to film this thing? What happened when we were in the field? What happens when your car breaks down in the middle of trying to film? We'll have all kinds of directors' perspectives out there that should be pretty neat. So that's our plan for Thursday. It's going to be a big rollout, big release. And I'll tell you that we're doing the virtual release. Of course, we were going to release in some movie theaters, right? That was the plan, to have the release event being in a few movie theaters. But with the stay-at-home order and the shelter in place, we're not able to do that. So this is the alternative, which I'm pretty excited about. I think we reach a lot of folks. So join us on Thursday for the release of the film, and those what you just got there in terms of a sense of that. I saw a couple of chats that some of the audio feed maybe could tighten up, and that'll all be when we do the full release. It's gonna be real smooth and laid out. So that just gives you a sense of it, so you can join the live release next Thursday. Okay, let's go back to the event site and hit the last day, Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me get back out there to it.
Okay.
All right, so Friday looks like we're gonna have some scientists in the meeting.
Yeah, okay. So Friday, we've got a set of scientists that have agreed and volunteered to answer questions. So this is that you guys ask questions and scientists will answer them. So we have Jennifer Hopwood from Xerces Society, Sam Droege, who is the same guy who does the Obscure Pollinator Day that I mentioned with all the photography and runs the Bee Lab at USGS. And then we have Neil Williams at University of California at Davis, who's an expert at Davis. I mean, just is all over bees and pollinators in general, mostly a bee scientist. And then I also will be answering questions. I'm a scientist myself, and I can help answer questions as well. So so that's Friday. So throw it at us. Give us your best shot. Ask anything. Last year, I had questions around, can I put a bee box in my backyard if my neighbor's allergic to bees? What happens there? Things like, did you know the majority of wild bees don't even sting? We talk about bees stinging all the time. The majority of wild bees don't sting, right? And there's a big difference between the honeybee and wild bee. The honeybee is what we tend to think about out there when we're like bees and you're at the park and you get stung with that barbed stinger. Probably it was a honeybee. That's Apis mellifera. So there's actually quite a much bigger diversity of bees out there. When I go bee, it's called bee hunting. I know it probably sounds odd for somebody in Raleigh to go bee hunting. But you go bee hunting, and sometimes I don't even need a net. You can just capture the bee in your hand, right? Because most bees don't sting. So we're going to talk about that. We got some really cool pollinator facts and science out there. You can throw hard questions at us too, like what about the monarch butterfly? What's going on with the monarch? Have you heard that the monarch could be listed as endangered or threatened by December of 2020? Ask those questions about the monarch or the monarch migration, and what can we do for the monarch? So whatever you got, throw it at us, and we'll be standing by the whole day. Your questions, you can post them to Twitter. You can send us email questions. And at the end of the day, we'll make a summary of the Q&A. I mean, it's really amazing to have these guys. These guys are just world-class scientists. It's remarkable that they're going to be online with all of us in such a public way to be answering these questions. So so that'll be that day on Friday.
So, so can I ask a question now? Like, I want to know about that murder thing. What's up with that guy?
Yeah, the murder hornet, boy, did that hit the wires pretty hard. What was that, last month? Yeah, so what's going to happen, right? You saw like on USA Today, oh gosh, first we have the pandemic and now we got the murdering hornet. That's just what we need, right? So I tell you what, putting the COVID pandemic in the same sentence as the murdering hornet just has no basis. The murdering hornet is not anywhere close, right? Not even close. It's yeah. So that's all I'm going to say. I have a much deeper answer for the murdering hornet, the murder hornet, native to Hawaii. But you're going to have to repost that question, Matt. Put it in the feed, and we'll make sure all the scientists get the right answer to you on Friday next week.
Hashtag power and pollinators, right?
Correct. Yeah.
All right.
Hashtag power and pollinators. Yep.
Okay. I got to get that question answered.
I know.
It's being asked for a friend, just so you know, a friend
Yeah,
is asking.
right. I bet you right. Yeah. I know. Everybody. Well, this is just my friend has this question. Yeah, that's classic. I believe you on that. Uh-huh.
Well,
Okay.
cool. Well, we've got a little bit of time left. So I think we might have some questions in the Q&A. So we'll bring Stephanie on the line here and see what questions folks are thinking about.
Okay.
Hi, Matt and Jessica. You guys have done an incredible job just, whetting our appetites for next week and all the excitement to come. So I know you guys have a lot in store for us. They're actually, we are pretty good on questions and answers. We did have one about registration asking, how many people are we looking at currently registered for this event?
Yeah, I mean the official registration we're a little over 500 right now for the registered part. We also are tracking the views via YouTube. And I know that our collaborators with the power companies are just starting to post and push the event. This is the time to do it. Don't wait. If you have folks to invite, get them going, and get them cooking with some wild cooks there. You can cook food, and then you can take your food to the film premiere, right? So you get your food ready on Tuesday, Wednesday, and then you can eat it while we're watching the movie later in the week. Yeah. And Matt, I wondered if we could look at the social wall real quick and then go back to clarifying how folks can share.
Yeah, let me pull that up real quick. You want to go to the next question while I do that? Go for it.
And so, Jessica, just to clarify on that, for registration, we can go ahead and send that out to friends and family and get everyone excited about it up until what point?
Until the end of the week.
Excellent.
Just keep it going out there. Folks can join for the whole week or for one event. There's not really a lot of risk here. I mean, this is a free event, it's for fun. So if you register, you will get the emails with the obscure pollinators, with the recipes, with the reminders on how to share and post, and answers to the questions from the scientist Q&A. Yeah, this is pretty safe town here to register for this thing, and we're not going to spam you. We'll send maybe one email a day.
Excellent. Well, and that's all the questions that we had in the queue. If you guys have any more, please feel free to send them on in through Q&A and we can get those answered for you.
So Matt, let's go look at the social wall quick there.
Yeah.
So we have a social wall, and I'll just point out a couple things, and then we'll kind of wrap up here with the pre-party. So if we click on the social wall, what happens here is that any post that goes to our Twitter hashtag Power and Pollinators will be put up on the social wall on the event site. So if you are an individual person posting a selfie, awesome, get it up on the social wall. If you are a company wanting to communicate about what First Energy is doing on pollinators, get it on our hashtag Power and Pollinators on Twitter, and it will load up to the social wall. So this is a really cool feature here to kind of see what's going on the Twitter thread, to kind of keep up to speed with what's all happening during the Pollinator Week. I will tell you, also share that last year during Pollinator Week, we didn't have quite as much of this party going. Well, we didn't have the party at all. So the whole virtual party is a new thing. And we did reach 1 million people last year because everybody shared with everybody that they knew. And that's sort of how we get this thing to roll out. So we'll have to see what happens this year. I'm really, really excited to see sort of what happens, if you share with 10 friends, and if you're at a company and you share with all your employees, how many folks can we reach? Let's go back to the page, the home page, where I can just clarify the how to share information if you click homepage there. Okay. Okay. So to make sure you're connected with just logistics is that down in the middle of this homepage, it says, do all your activities at home and use our hashtag Power and Pollinators to engage online or social media. And then we also have an email, pollinators@epri.com, and you can upload files. So we're just for clarification purposes, we're just asking for you to share your attachments by uploading them to our box site versus emailing, so we don't crash the email box and have Matt go crazy. So that's kind of what we're asking for. And so 3 ways: hashtag Power and Pollinators on Twitter, send us an email, pollinators@epri.com, or upload attachments, files, art, music, photos to our box. Those are your 3 ways. Okay. Okay. And I think that's all that I have to share, other than I appreciate everybody getting on. And if you guys have other thoughts or comments or questions or just anything to share, we'd love to hear from you at pollinators@epri.com.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Jessica. Last round for Q&A. Stephanie, anything else come in?
I think you guys really are getting everyone thinking and excited. I know we've got a lot of chat about when events start, when it, for registration. But there was one that just came in that I'd like to know the answer to. It says, is the Luna moth the largest moth in North America? We're going to get some science questions in.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good question. Okay, so I don't know the answer to that. But if I did, I would say put it in during the science Q&A. I don't know the answer to that. I'd have to check. Yeah, and I would say Jennifer Hopwood is a butterfly and moth expert, right? Jennifer, she can answer that. And then Neil Williams is the bee expert. And so, yeah, keep it. That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know the answer. You guys are I'm gonna have to get smart with you, right? I'm gonna learn things too next week.
There we go. There's also a great one in here about shiitake mushrooms on oak logs and the pollination that happens with those. So really, I mean, you're getting everybody thinking and wondering. So.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, awesome. You guys are gonna ramp me up for sure. That's great. Bye.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys for your time. We appreciate you, Jessica. I'll go ahead and respond to a couple of the other ones here in the Q&A section and turn it back over to you guys.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right. Well, Jessica, I'm looking forward to next week. I think a lot of other folks are as well. So we want to thank everyone that joined the live webcast via WebEx, as well as those folks that attended the YouTube stream video. Please note, if you missed this event, no worries. The recording will be out on YouTube, right? And we'll have all that linkage out on the Pollinator website, right? That everyone's going to be growing accustomed to next week. So we'll have live streaming, pre-recording, tons of information. So continue to stay tuned, and we look forward to a great event. So thank you guys, and have a great day.